Hello everyone, welcome to a Adrian Snary podcast. This one I've decided to have a look at the time leading up to an ayahuasca ceremony and some of the best ways to prepare for that and getting the mind, body, soul, spirit prepared and ready for the best possible outcome in the ceremony itself, and also the integration that goes on afterwards. So those elements I'll talk about in future podcasts, but for this one I thought I'd just look at the actual leading up to a ceremony and some of the best ways that you can prepare for a ceremony if it's something that you've been contemplating doing, have got coming up on the horizon, or have got something coming up soon. So the reason I thought I'd do this is because it's been a very important element in my life is ensuring that people get the best out of these experiences, which are quite profound and life-changing if you choose it to be, and also if you have the right circumstances, etc., which is very important. So and I want to share that knowledge and the experiences that I've had in some 30 odd ceremonies I've had now, plus a few other different plant ceremonies and Kambo ceremonies, etc., that have helped me in being able to really get the most out of these ceremonies and move forward afterwards. Having said that, no matter what you do, sometimes you just can't, nothing can prepare you for what can be accounted. However, I've found that with the right preparation and the right sort of mind frame or mindset going into a ceremony, that it makes the actual ceremony itself that much more tangible would be a word to describe it, knowledgeable, and the outcomes of which become more ingrained into our psyches. So to start off with, I thought I'd just discuss the leading up to in the maybe the year or two before a ceremony, because and then take it from there, leading up to going into the ceremony on the night or sometimes the day of the ceremony itself. I'll look at the first the year or two perhaps leading up to it, from when you found out about it, up until when you've made the decision, yes, I'm going to do this ceremony, and it might be 2 or 3 months away. So I'll be looking at that time period. I'll also be looking at the 3 to 10 days before the ceremony itself and what helps with that. I'll be looking at the day of, and also the moments leading into the ceremony when you find yourself in that space. So I'll start with the year or two first. So for most people, and certainly it was for me as well, it took about 2 years from when I first heard about ayahuasca to me finally having the ayahuasca experience. There's many different reasons for this, and it doesn't happen this way all the time, but most from what I've learnt from others' paths and their stories, it seems to be that once it comes onto the radar and there may be some sort of synchronistic event or something that occurs that lets you know that this is a path for you to take, that it then does take time. And the theory goes that Mother Ayahuasca, as the spiritual entity that she is, she knows when the best time is for you. So it may take a year or two, even longer, from the time that you feel that you're ready and that you want to experience this thing, to be able to actually then undertake it. So in this year or two, it's like the most sort of fertile ground to really get the most out of that experience. So, and you can do more in that year or two than you would be able to do in the days leading up to a ceremony to prepare yourself and get yourself ready. So some of the things that really benefited me, and some of the lessons I've got from some of the teachers that I've had in regards to plant medicine ceremonies, and specifically ayahuasca, that primarily the ayahuasca experience is a a tertiary experience, as in it's beneficial if you've done a certain amount of work on yourself first. So whether that's some sort of most people have some sort of trauma or addiction or some sort of thing that is going on in their life that they want to improve upon or heal, to not rely on the plant medicine itself to do that, but to take actions in our own life to prepare us as best we can for the ayahuasca experience, to be as clean a vessel as possible. Not to say that would be totally clean, and anyone ever really is through life. We all, hang on to some sort of stuff unless you become enlightened. But yeah, the experience leading up to the ceremony itself offers a great time to really work on ourselves and really get ourselves primed for the ceremony itself. So looking at it as a tertiary experience, as in you've done the primary, the secondary efforts, and the tertiary, that's that sort of looking at it as this ayahuasca experience is like the final part of this puzzle that you've been weaving together in order to create healing and gather wisdom in your life. So some of the things that really helped me were, and helps many people, are looking at just the things that you can do every day. So for me, it was a meditation practice. I had a strong meditation practice leading into my first ayahuasca ceremony for a good year or two before my first ceremony. I've always kept myself fit and healthy, and my diet fairly clean. So if there's any aspects of that in your life where you feel like you need to get out and move more and exercise and generally improve your health and well-being, then this is the best time to do it, leading into the ceremony, so that you can go into it feeling like you're physically and mentally at your peak. That really aids in the ceremony itself. So meditation, healthy lifestyle is really important. Any addictions that you may have, not to necessarily have moved past them, but made yourself aware of what the addiction is, because some people may not realize they're addicted to something, and then once they do, understand where it comes from. Like what are the underlying reasons for this particular addiction that I have. It's not always easy to define, and if you've got good people around you, you may be able to discuss it with them and speak to them about it. If not, if you feel like you need someone to speak to, then the person who is offering the ceremony is definitely the best person to speak to as well. As a side note, I'm always open for anyone who would like to discuss these things. If you would like to discuss anything that you're going through and things you would like to become more aware of within yourself, please don't hesitate to contact me either in this or on my email, which I'll supply on the bottom of this YouTube clip. I'd love to help. So being aware of those things, really cultivating a sense of strong mind, strong body within yourself, it sets a solid foundation, like a pyramid structure for the lead up to a ceremony. And I found with me that certainly with the meditation as well, not to say like I don't meditate all the time now, but it helped in the lead up to it. It just really sets about the flow state and the synchronistic events that really go a long way into helping with a ceremony, and especially the short time before it as well. So they're really the primary things, like looking at different esoteric principles around what this world is, understanding them, understanding what it's like, what it is to go within, because the ayahuasca experience is while it can take you to realms that seemingly are outside of ourselves, really it's a journey within, and a lot of people feel uncomfortable going within. So if you've had difficulties with that and there may be like a fear around it, which is totally understandable, if you haven't addressed that or looked at that, then if you go to actually the ceremony itself without having a look at those things and finding a comfort with going within, then there is a potential to struggle during the ceremony. If you're faced with that for the first time, of really going within, really seeing a lot of your shit, for lack of a better term, if you're not used to that, then it can really be a struggle. And I found that for me, just really having a practice where I really had to have a good long hard look at myself and really see some of the things that I was doing to both negatively impact myself and others around me, prepared me for the ceremony, my first ceremony I had, which was very much was looking very much within, and some of the aspects of my life that I could have worked on better. Certainly probably the first 5 to 5, 6, 7 ceremonies were like that. So so those things. So, and then with that comes, with that time working on that, then I've found again with myself and also with people who've had similar stories with the ayahuasca ceremonies, that then synchronicities develop. You'll meet someone who's in the ceremonial circles, or you'll come across someone that knows someone who can put you in touch with someone who will be able to help in your quest to undertake one of these ceremonies. So again, not to say it happens that way all the time, but I've found that it's certainly the most sort of like organic and pure way, is if you undertake it yourself rather than try and charge towards it. And so once you've made that connection and you have a date set for the ceremony to take place, it may be a 1 month away, 2 months away, 3 months, even up to 6 months before you can actually before it actually happens. So there's a great amount of work that can be done in that time as well. I really feel like for me it was really just doubling down really on the first part of my sort of recommendations around just really seeing like where I was at, like how do I feel as an individual, how much space within myself have I cultivated, and comfort have I found with being in myself. How's my body feeling? How's my diet? How am I drinking too much wine? Am I eating too much salt? Too much sugar, especially? All those sort of things that really, if we go into these ceremonies with that sort of clear picture, it really, really helps in the actual ceremony itself. So, who are my friendship groups? Who are the people I'm surrounding myself by? Is other people I need to start moving away from, including family members perhaps. It might even be someone you're in a relationship with. So that conversation may need to be had, where this is a very important moment in your life. Like, I can't understate the ability to change your perception of life, this ceremony. So having your room in good order really helps. And to paraphrase something that Jordan Peterson has paraphrased as well, it really comes down to cleaning our own room. So making sure our room is tidy before we go and look at doing anything else. So I think just really ensuring that we're in a good space. We know the ceremony is going to be on a certain date. We're ready. We're preparing as best we can, and we're taking those fundamental steps in getting ready for that. Once the ceremony is coming closer to occurring, you'll generally receive an email, especially from the person facilitating. They may call themselves a medicine facilitator, a shaman, medicine person, whatever it may be, asking you to, in either, some people look at doing it 10 days out from the ceremony or starting 3 days out from the ceremony, is cutting out on different foods, especially that may have an adverse effect on the your ceremony itself. So especially for your first one, I really highly recommend following the diet that is recommended. So the diet generally includes just clean, plain food. So like rices and steamed vegetables, getting rid of sugar, salt, fats, alcohol, weed, all those different things. Going back also, I should take a step back again in the months and also maybe the year or two leading up to it. There's also considerations that need to be made for people on antidepressants as well. So either antidepressants or SSRIs. Those, especially the SSRIs, they can have an impact on the ceremony itself, where the serotonin levels get readjusted from taking these SSRIs. And if someone goes into a ceremony in a manic state with the combination of the SSRIs, the ayahuasca, the medicine itself, can really take people further than is conceivable or is safe to go, I should say. And if that's something, if you're either on antidepressants or on SSRIs or a combination or anything else that's some sort of pharmaceutical medication for your life, then please talk to the medicine facilitator about it. I've done quite a bit of research into this, and I know there's some, they're looking at it as well, and there are some SSRIs that are okay apparently, but for me, I wouldn't want to take the risk of that. I feel like it's best to go into this sort of thing, perhaps if you can, if it is all manageable, to step by step reduce the dependence on, dependence is the wrong word, but reduce the intake of these SSRIs to be able to give your brain chemistry the best possible path when it comes to the interaction with the ayahuasca itself and the dimethyltryptamine that will be used through it. It's a dimethyltryptamine plus the MOAI inhibitors, monoamine oxidase, which is the chemical that helps that prevents the breakdown of the DMT in our stomach and allows for the experience itself. So when we ingest ayahuasca, or if we were just to ingest the DMT only, we have enzymes in our stomach which will break the DMT down and prevent it from actually entering our system. So the MOAI inhibitor prevents that breakdown, prevents the enzymes from breaking down, and allows our body to absorb the dimethyltryptamine, the DMT. SSRIs have an adverse effect with the MOAI inhibitor. So it's something to really consider. Again, please speak to the medicine facilitator or shaman who's going to be running this ceremony for you. Discuss it with them and see what you can do from there, because it's something that's very, very important to look at. So those 10 days before, the no salt, no sugar, no fats. Again, some people will say 3 days, no alcohol, coffee. You want to get your body as clean as possible to be able to give it the most durable, energetic and physical presence that it can have for the ceremony that you want to take, which will be quite physically grueling and can be quite physically grueling. Not all the time, but it can be. So there's a purging element that you may have heard of that comes to an ayahuasca ceremony, where you'll bring up different energetic aspects of your life, especially, and physical, and you'll vomit. And this may happen several times during the ceremony. So having your body as clean and prepared for that, as ready, and making sure that you're healthy, fit, limber, all those sort of things really will help in those times where it may be quite a strong purge and quite a lot needs to come up. Having said that, different alternatives to the diet in the days leading up to it. I mean, for me, especially in summer, like I've got quite a high metabolism and I sweat quite a lot. I'm quite active, so I need to have a certain level of salt in my diet because it helps keep me sustained and keeps me hydrated. So while it's important to look at the diet and to keep as clean as possible, if you've already got a healthy diet, and that's all fantastic. I think it's especially for people who have got not so great diets, who may be eating a lot of trans fats, a lot of things that aren't great for the body. It's really important to at least spend that sort of 10 days beforehand. But if there's elements to your life and your lifestyle where you may still need salt, especially, then I feel like it's good to do. There's other things like avocado and things like that the fermenting of it and the breaking down of which also prevent the MOI inhibitor from doing its thing. So again, if you're sitting with a shaman or medicine facilitator and they're not supplying you with this information, they're not supplying you with an email or a letter about some of the things you need to look at doing, then perhaps reassess whether this person is the best person to be sitting with, because all these are like of fundamental importance for the actual ceremony itself. That's all I can say is if it's someone who's not taking the time to speak to you about these sort of things, they probably don't care enough about you and your journey to they just don't care enough. So and you need to question then what is their motives, why are they doing this. But fundamentally, by far, I mean, everyone I've ever sat with has been really great with that, the preparation. All the shamans I've sat with have been fantastic, but I have heard of stories where that has not occurred, and they're generally by people who are basically out to do it for themselves, want to have their own experience, want to make some money doing it, and it can be create quite an ordeal for the people involved. So have a look at that if people that you're going to be sitting with aren't supplying with the information that I am supplying with you right now. So that's a 10 to 3 days. Again, just sort of just looking again what you're doing with your life as far as your health and well-being, your fitness, the people that you've got around you at the moment. During this time as well, it's great to start looking at an intention that you would like to set for the ceremony. So what would you like to look into? What would you like to heal or move past or learn? What is something that you would like to understand and get out of this ceremony? And setting an intention, writing it down is a great way to do that. What can happen is that it may not get fulfilled, and like there's a saying that Mother Ayahuasca will give you exactly what you need. So even if you go in with an intention, that it may not get fulfilled because there may be other aspects of your life that need addressing, and the intelligence that is Mother Ayahuasca will look at that predominantly, and anything else will be taken care of itself from there. So but it does help, I found, just with my own mindset and mind frame leading into my first ceremony, to have a solid intention there and something that I want to look at. And it may be, and that also brings up the understandings of expectations as well. So you may set an intention and then you'll have an expectation of how that will be fulfilled. So the only thing I can say with that is be careful with that, because be careful with your expectations, because often what will happen is you'll get what you need, and if your intention is fulfilled, you'll get what you'll need, but perhaps not in the way that you had been expecting. So there's no right or wrong with that. It's just the way it is. But certainly it's good if you can leave yourself open to whatever experience comes, rather than having some sort of expectation with her as well. So so use that time to really have a look at like what is that you would like to look into, and either figure out about yourself, about the world, what you'd like to heal, or what you'd like to put in place for your future to make it the best possible life you can. So then the day of, generally, most ceremonies occur at night time in the evening, so they'll start. People will start arriving usually just before the sun's going down, so around dusk. But the day of, it's important to, if you can, like the night before, get some really good sleep. There could be some nerves there, which is totally understandable. I had definitely had nerves leading into, the first day leading into the ceremony itself. But getting a good night's sleep if you can. I know, if you have children or, work worries and things like that, it's not always easy to do, but just do your best. The morning of, I always found for me, the morning of a ceremony, it was good to go for a long walk or just sort of, just get the body moving, get the energy flowing around this system that we call a body. And it was a great way to repair. Keep hydrated, drink lots of water. And then usually from about midday, you'll be asked to stop eating. So have your last meal about midday. And then you want to fast from midday at a minimum until the ceremony itself in the evening. So at least sort of for 6 or 7 hours. I sort of towards the end of my journeys, I would fast for the whole day before, or the whole day of the ceremony, I should say. And it just allows for when you're drinking the medicine to be able to move into the body and move into the digestive system and not be too blocked up by some of the food that you may already be processing. So that's an important factor in the ceremony itself, is making sure that your digestive system's as clean as possible and you're at optimal for ingesting the medicine itself and letting it do its thing. Then as the day moves on, just sort of, you don't want to put too much pressure on yourself, or there's nothing to worry about or anything like that. Promise me that if you've ensured that you've done the things that I've spoken of, so you've prepared yourself and that you're ready, you've found a good group of people to do this with, that you'll be well taken care of both before, during, and after the ceremony. So just know that everything's fine, everything's taken care of. It's okay to be nervous still, like it's okay to have nerves, and there'd actually be something wrong with you if you weren't nervous. I think that's a really important thing to understand, that there's something that you're going to experience that you've never experienced before, and it is the most amazing thing that you will experience, probably. Well, in those realms at least, certainly having a child or getting married or something like that, that's amazing too. So it's amazing in a different way, and you will be supported, again, both before, during, and after. So don't worry about that. You're in good hands with these ceremonies, both from the people around you and from the energetic presence of Mother Ayahuasca herself, and all the spirits that are involved, and all the hands that come together to facilitate this ceremony for you. So then generally you'll have to get to the ceremony itself. So often they'll be somewhere out of the way, and you may need to drive there, or we have some of them I don't, like in London, they were sort of like right in the center of it all, which was fantastic too. But wherever it is, just enjoy the process of getting there. You'll get to the venue. It's generally some sort of temple setup, so either a big room or like a yurt or some sort of tent, which are always fantastic to do it in. And you'll be greeted by the people running it. So generally there'll be the medicine facilitator or shaman, and they'll have, say, 2, 3, 4 helpers with them as well, depending on how large the group will be. Sometimes it might be like a small group of maybe only 4 or 5 people, or even less, up to 20, 30, even up to 50 people. So that's another important thing to look at too. Like really understand that for your first ceremony, how many people you would like to be surrounded by when you did this. My first one, there was about 50 people, and I thought it was fantastic. I loved it, but I love being around that amount of people. But for you, you may feel more comfortable with only 2 or 3. I've certainly done a lot of those smaller ones too, and even just ones on my own with the shaman, and that just has a different experience to it. So there's no wrong or right with the amount of people you do it with, just however many people you feel comfortable. So you'll arrive there usually an hour and a half before the ceremony starts. You'll just want to get all your stuff ready. You'll have like a little mattress or yoga mat size mattress. You don't want to go much bigger than that to put down in your space in the temple area. You'll have people next to you. So you just want to get all your stuff together, like your blanket, your pillow, any writing material. I found for me, it's especially my first sort of 10, 15 ceremonies, I used to really get a lot of writing what was going on during the ceremony itself. My first ceremony, for example, I spent probably a third of the time when I was really in the thick of the ceremony, just doing a lot of writing. Like I knew the stuff that was coming out for me, I needed to write down. That might not be for you, but certainly it's worthwhile taking a paper or a book or a journal and a pen and having it there if you like to write down or draw as well. I've done quite a lot of drawing during these ceremonies. They really help with the process itself. You'll be asked to bring some food as well. So some generally vegetarian food, so like vegetables, soups, or some bread or something like that. Just really wholesome food that you'll have either after the ceremony, which may finish at sort of 2-3 o'clock in the morning or even later, or the next day, the next morning. So get that ready. You want to bring plenty of water, or I used to really enjoy bringing coconut water. It was fantastic. But you don't want to drink too much of that when you first have the medicine, because you don't want to dilute it too much. So yeah, just get everything prepared, everything ready. You'll have different people around you who are going through the exact same experience you are, so you can have a talk to them. They may be their first time as well, or they may have had 100 ceremonies. Generally, most ceremonies, the facilitator will look at about maybe a quarter to a third of the participants being first timers. You wouldn't want too much more than that, just in case things get a little bit out of control. So you'll have plenty of people who are experienced with the medicine there with you in the ceremony. Talk to them, ask them questions, and really develop those sort of understanding of what it might be about when you're there. It really helps. So yeah, I think that's pretty much covered it. The next podcast I'll do will be about the during the ceremony and things to be mindful of and things you can do to help get the most out of it. And then I'll do a podcast again after that about the time after a ceremony, the days, months, and also years after a ceremony, and the integration that's involved with that. So yeah, I think the main takeaways though for this, so for the preparation and leading up to a ceremony is to really understand this is better if you can focus on this as being a tertiary experience, that you've done the work yourself beforehand, that you've undergone through some sort of processes, you've had a look at some sort of therapies if need be, you've taken up a yoga practice, a meditation practice, or especially yoga for me was a huge one in the physical aspect of my first ceremony and the ceremonies therein. Just having my body ready, because it can be like 5, 6, 7 hours where you need to be quite within and quite strong, hold strong space, and yoga practice really helped for me with that. Having my diet and my physical fitness at really good levels really helped in that as well. Having good people around me, finding a good environment, setting a strong intention, preparing myself in the either 3 to 10 days before the ceremony as far as the ayahuasca diet goes. I don't know if I miss this out, but the other important one with that diet too is no sex, because of the energy that gets lost in sex, and that includes masturbation, of course. If you can go into a ceremony with that energy stored, that real chi energy that runs up and down, that really can ignite that kundalini energy during a ceremony, which is certainly what happened to me. I had a full-blown kundalini experience. It really helps to amplify that during the ceremony itself. So yeah, those things in the days before. Like I said, though, if there's an element of your lifestyle, if you've got a physically grueling job, some healthy fats would be good, or salt. So things like nuts or avocados, not the day of, but leading into. But having said that, again, the avocado thing, some people say it's okay the day of. So just whatever you feel your body needs. If you're in a good position physically and healthy, just do that, and it will make sure that you're in the right mind frame as well. Good sleep, find some good people. If you need to get a lift into the ceremony itself, ask the facilitator. They can put you in touch with people who are going to be a part of the ceremony who may live nearby, and you can do that together. And then just enjoy the process, and just understand that you're supported, that you've got this, that it's no fluke that you're in this ceremony, that you're here for a reason, and it's a valuable reason, and you'll get a fantastic understanding of the possibilities of yourself and the universe. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'll leave my email address below. And I'd love to hear from you, or about any of your experiences in your preparation to an ayahuasca ceremony. But especially if you've got one coming up and you would like some assistance or understanding with that, I'd love to help. And I think that's it. Best of luck with it all. Again, know you're supported, and if you're unsure if you're supported, you'll find out you are. So it's quite an amazing thing. All right, thank you very much, everyone, and until next time, have a good one. Bye.